For one thing, let me start off by apologizing by saying I am sorry I have been so inactive lately, but I've done something this summer that I haven't done in a very, very long time that I am extremely proud of, and it's made me very happy. Granted, last week I actually was away. I was in the Dominican Republic for a week. Most of the summer I've been doing binge watching, and I normally never binge watch TV. It's very difficult for me to sit down unless it's like, a Netflix show like Orange is the New Black. But recently I've been watching shows I didn't think I would be that into, and I recently binged Arrow seasons 1, 2, 3, and Flash season 1 and Supergirl season 1. I still got to finish Flash season 2 and Arrow season 4, but I intend to fully cover Arrow season 5, Flash season 3, Supergirl season 2, and Once Upon a Time season 6 this fall and next spring on this channel. Hopefully every night after the episode airs. Supergirl and Once Upon a Time definitely, as I am 100% caught up with both those shows. And for this video, we are going to be discussing season 1 of Supergirl. I'm going to be saying spoilers here because it's a season discussion. Hopefully, those of you who are watching this have already seen Supergirl season 1, and hopefully you feel the same way I do, or hopefully we both like it because there's a lot of good, a little negative, and overall I am so happy I am into DC comic television shows. The movies, they're so difficult to like. I still haven't seen Suicide Squad yet, which is shocking, I know, because I do like to see the big blockbuster films. But Man of Steel I was only like half on board with, and then, Batman v Superman I hated. Then I watched the Ultimate Edition and I kind of liked it. There's one scene particularly in Batman v Superman that I really, really, really like, which is when Wonder Woman comes in. But I think I more so like that scene because of the score. Anyway, I've been rambling for 2 minutes, so let's get into Supergirl. So we're not going to go episode by episode. I feel that's a little monotonous. So I do have 5 favorite episodes. I have my favorite characters I want to talk about. I have my least favorite characters I want to talk about. Some of the guest stars, my favorite villains, stuff like that. We'll talk a little bit about the visuals, a little bit about the acting. Just a discussion, a fun, friendly discussion. So I figured let's talk about the favorites first. And my favorite character, obviously, is Kara. I love Supergirl. I've always been drawn to the Superman family. Superman is one of my favorite superheroes. In fact, he is my favorite superhero. And it really baffled me that when I saw the trailer for Supergirl, I at first wasn't into it. I didn't think I would like it, but then again, all of DC and live action, I've always been very, very hesitant to. So this Supergirl, Melissa Bensoit, she captures what I love the most about Supergirl. And the character of Kara is not only flawed, but also extremely likable and extremely relatable. And she's flawed in the sense that she's this person who embodies perfection. But if she breaks away from this perfection, she looks like the bad guy. And that's actually one of my favorite episodes that we'll talk about in a little bit. But I really love the fact that, she's living up to other people's ideals. She is a very, very good, well-rounded character. But, she has a lot of pressure from people around her, and she tries to live up to that and trying to live up to her own expectations. And, at the same time, she also feels very, very lonely as well, which I think is a really great concept for main characters to have. I think if a main character on some level feels lonely, it's very easy to connect with them. Just because I feel there are moments in almost everyone's lives where you feel alone at some point. And I'll talk about, there's a very, very particular scene where you feel Kara's loneliness. Oliver in Arrow, he was abandoned, or he was stranded on the island for 5 years. Barry feels sort of isolated just because his father is in prison, as far as I know right now in Flash. Granted, he has his friends, but he's the only one with powers at the moment. And when he meets Kara in Supergirl, he has this connection, and he feels less lonely. And I like that. I like when characters have that strained emotion, I guess. So Kara, flawed, likable, a little lonely, and her power set is so awesome. I love the visuals of her laser vision. I like how they show her flying. which I was really, really hesitant to. I was really, really hesitant when I was watching Flash, seeing how they were going to do the visual effects. You know, Arrow isn't really known for intense visuals. Um, and Flash pulled it off really well. And then Supergirl, the visuals are stunning. I still do wonder why her laser vision isn't red, but I guess blue burns hotter than red. So that is my justification of it. So I just love her interaction with many of the characters, and overall, I think the character Supergirl, she runs the show. She's very likable. This show is very much equivalent to Flash. I like it just as much, if not more, than Flash. So another character that I really, really like is Callista Flockhart's Cat Grant. Now, Cat Grant is a boss bitch, and she's awesome. She's really, really awesome. She inspires Kara, but she also strikes fear into Kara. And Kara, being Supergirl, she's also, you think that she wouldn't be afraid of Cat Grant, but at the same time, she's terrified of Cat Grant because Cat Grant's your boss. Your boss is someone that you want to have a good working relationship with, but you don't know, what to say and what to not say. And Kara's been working with Cat for over 2 years, and I think Callista Flockhart just embodies Cat Grant so well because she's motherly, but she's also cold, and I like her a lot. I like, a little spoiler, she has 2 sons, but one she abandoned in order to gain a better career, which is slightly Desperate Housewives-y. Edie Britt did that in Desperate Housewives. So, there are like those soap opera, Desperate Housewives, Sex in the City elements that the show might have been, pandered for. And in all honesty, I don't think it panders it at all. I mean, you can tell when it's going into the more soap opera, dramatic section, but I don't think it panders it. In fact, I think it only improves it. It makes Cat Grant a more interesting character because she essentially had a second chance, but then she resolved her issues with her son, Adam. And it was actually really interesting. At one point during the show, Kara was going on a date with Adam, her son, and Kara couldn't do it because, she's so devoted to her job, but not her job of being Cat's assistant, of being, working with the government for the Department of Alien Corrections, DEO, I believe. And, she was so devoted to being Supergirl that she didn't want to be in a relationship with Adam. But overall, Callista Flockhart plays Cat Grant. She's essentially like Perry White's equivalent, and I would say she's more interesting than Perry White. I think Callista plays the character so well. In fact, I'm a little bummed out for season 2 that she's not a main character. She's going to only be a supporting, recurring character. But overall, I would say definitely one of the most interesting, heartwarming characters. She has some great moments with both Kara, and Supergirl. Now, there's a really cool moment around, I think, gosh, I'm not 100% sure of the episode. Maybe it's in the beginning. It's in the beginning of the show where she thinks that Kara is Supergirl. And Kara covers it up with my next favorite character, the Martian Manhunter, Hank Henshaw, who's played by Dave Harewood. And Martian Manhunter's visuals look fantastic. He looks really, really cool. John Jones looks stunning. And, he has the relative same origin story. He's a refugee, last one on Mars, and he comes to Earth, and he takes over the DEO by essentially getting rid of Hank Henshaw, who was not a very, very good man. He murdered Kara and Alex's father, Mr. Danvers. I'm blanking on his first name, but Mr. Danvers definitely covers the first name and covers the character. He murders him, and I say murder because when John Jones is interrogating an officer's mind, he realizes that Danvers is alive and stuck in Project Cadmus. So that's going to be a big plot of season 2, a big focal point of trying to get him back. And the Manhunter's relationship with Kara and Alex is excellent. He escaped to this world, and he essentially devoted to protecting it. But he was asked by Danvers to protect his daughters, and he essentially adopts Kara and Alex and protects them. And he reveals his secret to them, and they want him to pretty much express that secret. Reveal that secret to other people. But he's hesitant to, and when he does reveal it in an attempt to save Kara and to save Alex, it causes a lot of bedlam. He reveals it in episode 16, and there was obviously there's 4 more episodes left where his character gets into a lot of trouble because of being a Martian, and it gets into an interesting debate about just accepting those who are different from you. And I really like the way that the writers of Supergirl worked here. Every episode of Supergirl is kind of like monster of the day, dealing with an overall villain plot that finally collapses, comes to fruition at the end of it. But I have to say, I did like the little twist that they had with the villain. So Kara, Kat, and the Martian Manhunter. And then my next favorite character to discuss is Wynn, who's played by Jeremy Jordan. Now, Wynn is a possible love interest of Kara, and he is the son of Toyman. Toyman was a pretty cool villain. His episode was really nice. He, as a mortal man, he was able to really manipulate Supergirl and manipulate his son, and I really liked it. This is what I like when, excuse me, I am not like a big Batman fan. I think he's obviously not too normal, but Batman, he isn't my favorite. But I felt like Batman vibes with Toyman here because he's essentially just using technology in an attempt to take down people like Supergirl with powers. And I really like that it added a bit more normalcy to the episode, took away from some of the more fantastic creatures that the Kryptonians imprisoned. And his love of Kara is a big driving point throughout the show. He's kind of like that dorky, nerdy guy who's pretty cool. Like, he's a really cool character. He's some people might say he's a little bit flat, but I would say overall he's more interesting than James Olsen, who's my least favorite character on the show. He's played by Mehcad Brooks, and an issue that I have with his character, it has nothing to do with his acting. He plays Jimmy Olsen fine, but the character of James is essentially in a love triangle with Kara, and then obviously with Wynn. And there's a scene where Kara gets kissed by Wynn, and then the relationship gets strained, and then there's a scene where James kisses Kara, but that kiss leading up to it gets more and more convoluted because he gets put into a love square because Lucy Lane, the sister of Lois Lane, is James's girlfriend, and then it becomes like a love square, and it's just that's when it gets a little bit more convoluted. So I really would have liked if there was no love triangle and that it was just Kara likes this guy and that's where it goes. One of the good things about Flash was, he just liked, oh my God, I'm blanking on her, Iris. He just liked Iris West. Like, he just liked her. That was it. He was slow with getting to be with Iris, but there was no in between. Like, there was a little love triangle at one point in the mid-season 1, but overall that triangle was not it wasn't essential to the plot. So I did like that there, and I wish that the CW was able to influence CBS's choices with the love triangle, because that did hinder a little bit of the show's plot. Another character on the show that I think a lot of people did like, but I felt slowed it down, was Shyler Lee's Alex Danvers. Now, I don't think Alex as a character is bad. I just feel that the show was so overpopulated because you had Lucy Lane, you had James Olsen, you had Wynn, you had Kara, you had Callista, you had the Martian Manhunter, then you have Alex. You have 7 main characters, and I feel they could have merged the character of Wynn and Alex together, just made James and Lucy, a couple, and then made Wynn and the Wynn-Alex combination Kara's love interest, and have them do the Iris Barry Allen thing in Flash. I just think that would have made the plot work out just nicer, because as it goes from triangle to rectangle to square, it just gets dull, and I didn't like that. So I don't know, just the character of Alex, there was too much with her. Her relationship with Kara was great. Don't get me wrong, I'm looking forward to actually seeing more of her. In episode 19, there was a scene where Kara had to fight Alex, and then in episode 20 they fought again, and then because of their relationship, Kara was able to pull Alex out of Non's mind control. But there's too many characters. That's when you have too many, that one could go, and I would say Alex would be that one. I'm curious to see if you guys would rather get rid of maybe James or Wynn, or someone else. I know with Cat Grant leaving the show, they're going to have more time to focus on other characters, but they're also adding, Superman, Superboy for season 2, so the cast is again getting more, and I just hope that, it doesn't take away from Kara's overall story of coming into her own, of being Supergirl, of saving National City. So now let's talk about some of the guest stars that the show had, and the show had quite a bit of guest stars, and I really, really loved Laura Bentani's Astra slash Alora Zor-El. Now, for any of you who are fans of Nurse Jackie, this has two Nurse Jackie actors in it. It has Laura Battani, who played Jackie's rival for her husband after they got divorced, and then Peter Fininci, who played Coop, who plays Maxwell Lord. Now, Maxwell Lord, from my original interpretation of the character as I got through around episode 10, I thought he was going to be like Kara's Luthor. And it turns out he's anything but her Luthor. He's kind of an anti-hero in the end. In fact, I ended up really, really liking his character. There's a couple episodes where he gets imprisoned unfairly, but I'm like, he needs to be in prison because he's kind of a bad guy. But I really, really like the character of Maxwell Lord, and I just think it's funny that the show has two Nurse Jackie actors on it. Overall, Max Lord, he's an anti-hero who, is a science Mongol. He doesn't trust the government, and then he eventually comes to trust Supergirl. And now, as of now, they're on the same side, but also at the end of season 2, they do have some secrets that are hidden. So I have to say, Max Lord is an interesting character. You just have to kind of you have to learn to like him. Now, I really want to talk about Laura Battani's Astra slash Alora. Now, Astra is a villain who dies by episode 13, and Alora is Kara's mother. Now, she's played by the same Astra and Alora are played by the same actress, Laura, and the character of Alora, she's dead. You really only see her through flashbacks, but you really understand Astra, and Astra is Kara's only living relative, and I absolutely loved their relationship. I thought Laura played the character so well. I really, 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 really loved the way that Astra and Kara interacted together. Astra's mission to cleanse the Earth, she was imprisoned on Krypton because she was essentially a rebel. She didn't want the planet to overuse the resources, and she wanted Kara to come to her side. But then at the end, she saw reason, but then she was murdered. And I was like, why? Like, why do you have to make Kara feel even more lonely? Obviously, it adds to her character development, but I was like, she's so good. Like, you could have murdered any other character, but they chose to murder her last living relative. And I really just loved her aunt. Another character on the show who I also enjoyed, who I briefly mentioned, was Lucy Lane, played by Jenna Darwin Tatum. Now, Lucy Lane is Lois Lane's younger sister. She's in that love square with Kara, Wynn, and James. But overall, the character of Lucy Lane is very interesting. I always like Lois Lane. I like Amy Adams' interpretation of Lois Lane. I like Dane Delaney's voice acting of Lois Lane. So I would say that Lucy Lane here is pretty cool. She's a pretty cool character. She kind of jumps jobs, and she's always on Kara's side. And when she finds out that Kara is Supergirl, like, she's instantly wanting to support her, wanting to help her out with all of her problems. So I really did enjoy the character of Lucy Lane a lot, and I'm looking forward to seeing more of her because as of now, she's co-head of the DEO with the Martian Manhunter. And the last character that I want to talk about is Laura Vandervots, Indigo / Brainiac Gate. At first, when I saw her, I have to say I felt very much like the Mystique vibe. She looked a lot like Mystique. Like, this is what I'm seeing. I'm seeing Mystique, and I was like, ooh, that's not very good. Like, the hair was the same, blue skin was the same. The only real difference was the symbol on the top of the head. But I thought Brainiac's a really powerful, corrupted villain who was essentially responsible for the demise of Krypton, depending on the interpretation of the comic that you're reading or the show. I believe in, like, Justice League Unlimited or Justice League, Krypton was destroyed due to Brainiac's just tampering with the Central Core. So Indigo, is a rival of Supergirl. A lot of Supergirl's villains in the show are female, but she does have male villains that she does oppose, and she handles both very well. And Indigo, what she does is kind of becomes the main antagonist towards the end. So what you have in the beginning is you have Astra and her husband. And they want to take over Earth, essentially. And then Astra gets killed, and then you think her husband Non is going to be the villain. And Non was played by Chris Vance, and Non was a boring villain. Like, Astra made him interesting, and then he was just like, must take over Earth. But then Indigo comes in, and Indigo's like, not just Earth, the whole universe, and I'm going to do it, and I'm going to make Supergirl a queen of a dead planet. And I really liked how Indigo came in, took everything away from Non, and then essentially put Kara in a life or death situation. And Supergirl was able to defeat her. Martian Manhunter actually killed Indigo, as far as I know, but I really did just like the character overall. Like, she was a very powerful female villain, and I'm glad to see Brainiac 8 on the show. I have two more favorite villains, not so much due to their acting, just because of the visuals that accompany them, and also due to the team up. So we'll talk about my top 5 favorite episodes. This is not in any way, shape, or form in like a numerical order of favoritism. It's just these are the episodes that I thought stood out from Supergirl. And my two favorite villains come from this episode, which is World's Finest, which is a crossover episode with The Flash. It's episode 18, and World's Finest is based, on the Batman Superman crossover. But there's also an episode of Batman. There's this episode in the Superman animated series where he meets Batman called World's Finest. There's also an episode where Superman races the Flash in the Superman animated series as well. And this is essentially driving a lot of points from those episodes and from this comic, but obviously with Supergirl. And the two villains that Flash and Kara have to face are Livewire and Silver Banshee. And I really like the character of Silver Banshee. Her relationship with Winn was pretty cool. Her relationship with Kara was really cool. Livewire, she was a radio DJ, gets struck by lightning through Kara. It was a weird way. Kara was trying to protect her, but it just ended up being a problem. And after, due to being struck by lightning and Kara being the conduit, she gave the power to Livewire, or made the girl Livewire. And she hated Cat Grant because Cat Grant fired her. But, just the team up between the two was awesome. Silver Banshee's costume was pretty bad, though. That was one thing. There's a couple times where you can see zippers for the Kryptonians' outfits, and I was like, "There's no way Krypton would use zippers. They would just be sleek suits." So the outfits were a bit of a problem at some points, but overall, World's Finest was such a great episode. Grant Gustin is so refreshing and fun, and he just brought, he brought such a great feel to Supergirl that, it made me excited that the CW is getting her. I can't wait to see more episodes with Kara and Flash together, because they have quite a chemistry. It's awesome. That episode was great. It was like I said, it was a team up episode. The visuals were fantastic, and it allowed Kara to regain her confidence back after losing it in The Falling, which is episode 16. I am going to essentially be doing these episodes in reverse order that they aired. So one of my favorite episodes was World's Finest. The next one is The Falling, and in this episode, Kara gets exposed to red kryptonite. And what happens there is, due to the exposure to the red kryptonite, her brain changes and she essentially becomes evil. And, the second Supergirl does anything wrong, everyone hates her. But that's also because they fear her powers, because she is super, super strong, and she has, she has the breath, and she has the heat vision and whatnot. And, what happened in World's Finest was able to, or what happened in Falling was able to, be fixed in the World's Finest. But I just loved, seeing Kara be evil. It was a really great showing for Melissa's acting, because she has great moments of acting showing sadness and happiness, but she didn't really get into being an evil character, because Supergirl's not like that. So seeing her, Melissa, play up evil Supergirl was awesome. All right. So the next episode that I really, really liked, and I hope all of you would like this episode, is For the Girl Who Has Everything. Now, this is based on the comic book For the Man Who Has Everything, where Superman gets attacked by the Black Mercy. Kara is attacked by the Black Mercy by her uncle, Non. Now, the Black Mercy latches onto Kara and lets her see, the reality that she wants, and it essentially will kill her. And Alex needs to get in there. But when Astra finds out that the Black Mercy is attached to Kara, she can't have that. Kara's her last living relative, and she tells Alex how to get it off her. And she tells Alex, essentially, Kara needs to wake herself up. And so Alex goes into the fantasy thanks to Maxwell Lord, which makes him, I'm saying, a couple earlier episodes, he's a bit of a crazy bastard. So, he helps break Kara out of the possession of the Black Mercy. But then later in the episode, Astra dies. And that was another reason why I like that episode, because you get to see Supergirl show this emotion of sadness, and she shows this a great emotion. She just shows being, miserable and ripped away from the happiness that she wants so much many times. So Melissa Ben Soit's acting was just able to shine so well and For the Girl Is Everything. I would say that For the Girl Has Everything is probably the best episode of Supergirl. Now, my other favorite episode that I have is episode 12, Bizarro. And this is where essentially Supergirl gets her own Bizarro. And Maxwell Lord, because he can't stand Supergirl, he's like Lex Luthor, as I've said, he makes a carbon copy. And when she gets exposed to kryptonite, it causes her skin to corrode. But she's made from Supergirl's DNA, and she has a lot of Supergirl's heart. And so when Supergirl was able to knock Bizarro out, and she died, like the death scene was really sad, because not only didn't you feel Melissa Bensoit's emotions of Kara watching someone die, because Kara doesn't want anyone to die. She doesn't like that idea. It was just heart-wrenching. And then, you kind of see just that Bizarro wasn't a monster. In fact, it was someone with a soul. I really love that. And as I said, you're going to see a really interesting side of Maxwell Lord. Maxwell Lord made Bizarro to protect himself, but he's using the powers of the Kryptonians, which he fears, but he also wants. He's a real interesting character. So I would say that, I would say that Peter Facinelli plays him very well. Okay, and the last episode that I like is Hostile. And there's really one reason, or Hostile Takeover, excuse me, that's the title of the episode, but it's episode 8. And again, the main reason that I like this episode is you learn the truth about Astra, why she's doing what she's doing, but you get to see Kara have a freak out because she finally goes crazy over the fact that her mother left her on Earth by herself. Now we kind of know why, but as someone who gets abandoned, you have questions. And she sees this recording of her mother, and she wants to know why her mother allowed Astra to go to jail. Did Kara get used and employed to get Astra in jail? Is Astra right about the fact that Krypton was going to die? And essentially what it comes down to is all of that's true. Kara was used to trap Astra. Astra was right that Krypton was going to die. And Kara's mother had the opportunity to save the planet, but she didn't listen. And Kara freaks. So Kara, just has these great emotional arcs, which I love. And overall, those 5 episodes that I listed, I think, are the best of Supergirl. I really hope that you guys have seen the show, or if not, you'll be definitely checking it out and enjoying those episodes as much as I did, because I cannot wait to check out season 2. Oh my God, as soon as I can. Overall, Supergirl was just such a fun show to watch. Visuals were stunning. Acting was so fantastic. The episodes are so great, and I can't wait to see more. The only problem I have with Supergirl is I have a problem with the upcoming episodes of Supergirl, minus the whole love triangle in season 1. With Superman, I'm just hoping that Superman won't overshine Kara, because Kara is such an interesting character, and I can't wait to see her deal more with. I can't wait to see her meet Oliver, for one thing, and I can't wait for her to come back into the world of the Flash. So overall, I'm really curious to hear your thoughts about Supergirl Season 1. Thank you so much for tuning into my very long review. Clearly, I liked it. It had a couple issues, but what doesn't? And it's become my favorite show, essentially, next to Once Upon a Time. So I love Supergirl. I'm so looking forward to watching more of it. This video was just a discussion, a long discussion, so I didn't want to do too many, I didn't do any edits. Just kind of left it as is, so thank you for listening to me talk. Okay, so we will talk real soon about Supergirl in the comments below. Again, guys, thank you for tuning in. I hope that we'll be talking Supergirl this fall a lot. All right, bye.